Welcome, everybody. Really, really excited. It's our weekly all-out massive action plan call. And this is a special call for those who have set their hair on fire to end this year, 2015, with massive, massive success. And you know, I'm going to play my favorite song to begin the call. Okay, everybody, you got the taste of our song, and by now, hopefully, everybody actually knows the words. They don't even need the text coming across the screen, but we're delighted to have this call every week, and I so appreciate those that are in the chat room to monitor the chat for me so I can concentrate on what I'm supposed to be doing. So, yep, how many in the chat room are ready for all-out massive action? Say yes if you are. And we have already discussed previously that success loves speed. And that's what really this is all about, because you can do things two ways. You can do them slow or you can do them fast. And it was interesting. I know on the line here we've got Wayne Williams, Bill Hankey, Chris Call, who were all with us at the XBA last weekend. My goodness, it seems like a month ago. It was just last weekend, which was just a few days ago. And I'm going to tell you, you need to get to the XBA. They do them now every 2 months. And the next one is in January. I believe it's January 13th and 14th. Debbie was there too. Great. So make sure that you contact customer service, because the university in January will fill up. They had the largest group ever. This was the third one, with 70 people there, and totally will help with your direction and mindset. So, as Tony Robbins says, and if you have not seen Tony Robbins live, I'm sure you've seen his videos. They're all in the back office, many of them in Zango University, and he's got an amazing story. But the bottom line is, if you're going to have success, you must take specific, massive action. Not just, the brain freeze stuff and all the motivation stuff and all the reading, but actually applying into income-producing activities, because all that you're learning means nothing, absolutely nothing, unless you put it all into action. And we talked about income-producing activities. And you're on this call for personal growth, for professional growth, but don't let it get in the way of thinking that this is an income-producing activity. Now, if you have been on these calls the last few weeks, what activities, put it in the chat room, would you consider income-producing activities? Now, there's lots of them, but at least put something in the chat that creates the income that you want. What are the income-producing activities? I don't see anybody typing. Talking with people. Love it, Vivian. dialogue with a prospect, absolutely. Minimum daily contacts, great, Jean Marie. Follow-up, absolutely. I don't see three-way calls on here. Aries demo, absolutely. Putting people on the phone with your upline. What about sending out information, putting them into your AMP app and your MyZango builder? So all of these things count as income-producing activities. Now, I love to find visuals for you because when you have a visual as well as an auditory, you retain more. So I'm not sure who said this, and it may not have been Eric Worre, but who knows the percentage of information you retain immediately after you hear it? Who knows that number? Who remembers how little you retain immediate recall? Oh, my goodness. Bill got it. Bill got it, 2%. Yay for Bill. Good listener. Okay, we only retain 2%. That's pretty scary. Now, when I was teaching school, Chris, I was told immediate recall was 17%. But apparently the scientists today, the psychologists are saying that we only have 2% immediate recall. That's why it's so, so important as you're reading, you're listening, you're taking notes. But then you must go back and review your notes, just like at the XBA. I mean, people had pages and pages of notes. But truth be told, the next day, I'll bet you they could not recall 2% of it. And that's why if you haven't done it yet and you were at the XBA, make sure before you go to bed at night, you just at least read through the notes, underline. I make stars and all kinds of comments. But God can't hand you something new until you're willing to let go of the things that don't feel right and are not allowing you to go in the direction of your dreams. And a lot has to do with the subconscious mind. And if you followed our training with Brian Tracy, and I can't remember, Joe, Mark, Jean Marie, you've been with me. Did we do Brian Tracy for maybe 12 months, 14 months? Just amazing, amazing content about how we change the brain and the subconscious mind. And everybody is born to be successful. So what happened in that subconscious mind that we need to change to allow you to grow to your goals? Now, we are what we do habitually, obviously. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. And I know I had a chat this afternoon with one of my good friends who's on the call, and we were talking about being stuck and why. There's intelligence. There's, sharp. What is in your past that is keeping you stuck? And the only way you get, quote, unstuck is changing some habits and doing things every day that initially might be uncomfortable. But are you willing to get uncomfortable to live life as it should be? Say yes or no. Are you willing to get uncomfortable and do things that might be hard to do things that could be frustrating, could be scary, but that's all part of growth. Agreed? So and this is a biggie. And if you're not familiar with Abraham Hicks and Esther Hicks, I really suggest you go to their website, which is abraham-hicks.com. abraham-hicks.com. And we met Esther or Abraham probably 20 years ago. And thank you, Mark. I know you and I are big fans, and I think Tessa is as well, of Abraham Hicks and Esther. And Jerry recently passed away, but met Esther probably maybe 20 years ago, okay? And she changed my life. I mean, here we were, 52 years old, $450,000 in debt with no way out. Just felt hopeless. And she teaches this. And the book I suggest, Mark, put it in the chat room if you don't mind. Ask and it is given. Ask and it is given. It's actually in the university. It's now an ebook that you can download through the university. Of course, I put in the university everything that I use, everything that I do, because it has helped me, and I know it's there to help you. But when she talks about negative thoughts and how you go in the direction of your thoughts, and she talks about pivoting. So, we all have those moments. I mean, we were going through an 8-year, multi-million-dollar litigation. My mother, we were taking care of Mom at home with breast cancer and Alzheimer's, being diapered 2/5 sections on oxygen. I mean, and now, there were days I couldn't cope. And her teaching was, deal with what you have to deal with that's negative, but immediately pivot. Pivot and think of something feeling good. There's the secret there. Something that feels good. Maybe holding a new baby. Maybe the time when you were lying on a beach with somebody you cared about. But you've got to find that happy feeling place. And many years ago, I read on a program guide during the high holidays when we're in our darkest time. And it said this: you are where your thoughts are. Make sure your thoughts are where you want to be. You are where your thoughts are. Make sure you are where I was reading the chat. See, I can't multitask. Know where your thoughts are, because that's going to take you in the direction. And I'm sorry if you thought I said Esther died. Esther did not die. It was Jerry that passed away. So I just wanted to make sure I clarified that. So you are where your thoughts are. Make sure your thoughts are where you want to be. And apparently, this was actually something like this in a song that Willie Nelson had written. And habits are hard to change. And I remember my grandchildren just about 2 or 3 years ago. I was there for about a month, and they really had some habits that needed to be changed. And we did lots of things. And if you ask my little grandchildren, how long does it take to change a habit? Who knows that answer? How many days does it take? Only how many days to change a habit? Yep, Mark, 3 weeks. Marilyn, 21 days. That's it. So think about the habits that you have that are not serving you that need to be changed. So you got 2 choices: a new way or the same old way. Now, what happens if you don't change? If you do not change, is anything going to change? Heck no. So knowing the new way will help you live your dream, or staying in the old way, stuck where you are. It's about a choice. So you need to decide and put in the chat room, are you going to go the new way and do things differently, or are you going to keep doing the same old stuff and be stuck where you are for another year, or another 2, or another 3 years, or more? So good habits are addictive, just like bad habits are. But boy, those good habits get you exactly where you want to go. So let's talk real quick about the income-producing activities. And we're going to probably keep this slide every time because we need repetition. We need people to absolutely spit this out without even thinking. Talking to people, sharing the business or the products. Ask people, who do you know? Setting appointments to do a 3-way call. And a little bit of, we should probably do a whole separate training on how to set the appointment for a 3-way call so that it's confirmed. So when that day and time comes, you don't have a no-show or they're not there or they forgot. So remind me, and we'll do that in one of these sessions. So you also get kudos for placing orders, whether they're customers or business partners, and getting them started the right way. Now, can you enlarge the screen? I'm at max. I'm at 100%, Larry, so I'm not sure why you're having trouble. But if you go to the right-hand side of your computer, you'll see a tab that says full screen, and then you'll see the slides full screen. So everybody please confirm that when you hit full screen, the slides are very visible, because that's the only way I know for you to see the full slide. So let me know if that works for you, Larry. All right, so here was the activity point tracker that I originally developed. And I keep tweaking it because it's a point system. And obviously, the person that has the most points at the end of the month, we're going to have a prize. I had to discuss with Eddie. He doesn't know this, but we're going to actually have a prize for the winner. So what I need you to do is on, well, maybe Saturday or Sunday. Let's end this week on Saturday. I want you to submit your activity point tracker sheet to your buddy, but to me as well. So make sure to put your name on it and what week it is ending. And no cheating, guys. Come on, we have to play fair. This is sort of like the honor system. And we went to the XBA, and it's interesting that some of the other leaders are implementing similar things, but without a point system and without prizes. And I thought it would just be fun. But we're getting even better because Marilyn Turpinny, who is so clever and just so gifted when it comes to technology, she took it one step further and color-coded it and has actually planned it out for the 21 days. Isn't this cool? And it's now in our group with all the other documents. So if you'd prefer, which I think this might be an easier document to use because she even put on here meditation time and prayer time and creating her plans for before she goes to bed at night, visualizing her goal sheet and maybe looking at her dream board. She's thought of everything. Gratitude, oh my goodness, this is huge, absolutely huge. So let's all say thank you, thank you, thank you to Marilyn for creating such a beautiful document and sharing it with everyone. So, Bill, are you on the speaker line? Can you unmute yourself? Are you with me, Bill?
Here.
There you go. I know you've been really, really busy, and it was so great to see you face-to-face at the XVA. And I would like you to share your story about the car, the 6-month thing with the car, because I thought that was just very inspirational.
Well, thank you, Sandy, for allowing me to be on the call. I really do appreciate it. Well, my wife and I have been working our business for quite some time, and it was one of the things that they teach you at XBA, and actually in just about any motivational or how should I say self-improvement courses, is to visualize where you're going to be in 1 year, 4 years, 5 years down the road. And so it was about 4 years ago, I went to an Infiniti dealership, and I drove a QX56, white QX56 vehicle or SUV. It wasn't but a couple of weeks past that the assistant vice president of my department came to me because you can retire at 55 at our airport. he came to me and he said, "Hey, Bill, they're offering, lump sum retirement. When are you going to retire?" And I thought for a minute, and I looked back at him and I said, "When you see me pull up in a white UX56, you will know I am 6 months away from retirement." Well, fast forward now to this year. Dory and I, about a year and a half ago, purchased a Infiniti EX35. It was gray, and it was a nice vehicle, but then the tires wore out on it. And to make a long story short, we went and instead of getting one tire, we got 4 new tires. And those 4 new tires are sitting on a white QX60 because they don't make the 56 anymore. And I guess I am 6 months away from retirement because that's what we're going to do. And we put together a plan now on how we're going to do it. And not only are we going to be able to retire, but we're going to be able to retire while we are feeding starving children and nursing mothers. And that just excites me no end.
Powerful, powerful. So for those on the call or listening to the recording, this is a special part of our Zango family because we're also like-minded in really investing in each other's success. Going to XBA, how did that impact you compared to, everything else you've been doing? But how does it also fit with what we're doing with these massive all-out action calls?
Well, it impacted me in a way that I never thought I was going to be impacted. One of the things that Gordon talked about, Joe talked about, Beverly talked about, I think everybody talked about, and that was memes. And memes is an element or a culture or a system of behavior that may be considered to be passed on from one individual to another. And basically a meme is, you'll never amount to anything. Oh, you could never do that. And it's things that are pretty much beat into us from time immemorial, basically. And, some people have the fortunate to be born into a family that doesn't happen. I wasn't one of them. My dad did tell me I could accomplish anything, but then he would, in the next breath, say, well, you could never do that. So don't get me wrong, I love my dad. But there's also a meme that's been going around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And that meme is, you can't build a successful network marketing business in Dallas-Fort Worth. Well, I don't know if you know this, but I'm also a part of Toastmasters. And so I wrote a speech the other day called Change Your Memes. And I put my money where my mouth was. I said, this is going to stop today. I said, we will build a massive network marketing business in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It will be successful, and we are going to do it by putting our soldiers in all of the different stores and feeding starving children and nursing mothers. And the part of my speech that I was supposed to have that day was it was supposed to be persuasive. And there were people in that room that had said, well, you can never get me into network marketing. I would never be interested. Those people came up to me after the meeting and said, okay, what's the next step? What do I have to do next? Where do we go? Another person that came up says, well, I really can't do anything, but here, put this in your box. And it was very, very powerful. Changing your meme, changing the negatives that are in your life. There was a meme that was going on until April of 1954 that no human could ever break the 4-mile barrier. Roger Bannister said he would, and he did. And since that time, 20,000 other men and women have broken the 4-mile barrier. 20,000. Some of those are in high school. And what that means and what that tells you is that you can always be the first to do something, and there will always be someone who would want to follow you and do it better. And at Zango, we want people to do it better, because when one wins, we all win.
Thank you, Bill, so much for sharing and bringing up some of the things that were gone over at the XBA. That's why it's so important for people to review their notes. But we also have, it's interesting that almost everybody talked about having a goal list. And I happen to think that instead of a 3x5 card, the one that we've provided through this group is pretty neat, because it has different goals, your family goals, your business goals, the daily tasks that you're going to do, and it's for the week, and this also keeps you on track. It keeps you easily accountable. Are you getting the job done? Because if you do not commit to these specific activities that are on the screen, I happen to send out a lot of emails, but I'm at the point where I feel a responsibility of communication, because there are so many people in Zango that seem to be disconnected for whatever reason. So my passion is to make sure that everybody knows about everything. And have you blocked out on your calendar, before you go to bed, every single night, who you're going to be calling, who are you meeting with, who are you following up with, where have you put in your daily walk or your visit to the gym, everything, the events. Have you already registered for convention next year? There will be regionals the first quarter, and that'll be announced shortly. Before I forget, on Thursday, which is tomorrow night, on the weekly webinar training, the WWT call every Thursday, this particular one tomorrow night, they're going to make an announcement of some incredible specials. I think they're going to be calling it Orange Friday. And it's only going to be good, I understand, for people who attend that call. So I'll make sure to send out an email reminder in the morning, but you should be putting it on your calendar right now. And when you log into your back office at Zango.com, I think it's either on the front page of the website, or once you log in, the WWT information is there. So thank you so much, Bill, for sharing. And what I'd like to go over, who else is on the speaker line with us, to go over some of Eric Worley's session 4 on structure, on getting ready with your inner circle. I love those words, inner circle. With your pre-launch in preparation for our big launch, which is January the 1st. So is anybody on the speaker line that would like to share some of the ahas that they had? And, of course, I cheated and have my notes in front of me, because what I've been doing is, as I'm listening, I'm actually taking notes. And I do it on the computer only because sometimes I can't read my handwriting. So I do it on the computer, so I've got some really good notes to review. So is anybody on the speaker line that would like to review some of this week's session so far with Eric on your preparation for your launch? And we're now in our pre-launch stage and gathering our inner circle of future leaders.
I'm here.
Okay, Karen, is that you?
Yes, it's me.
Awesome, Karen. I'm so excited you could jump on. Thank you. By the way, let me introduce Karen Johnson. She and her husband, Larry, have been married forever, not as long as Eddie and I, but a pretty long time. And Karen is the creator of Wake Up with Zango. So not once a week or twice a week or 3 times a week, but every day she does a fabulous Wake Up with Zango. And I think it's at, 8:57 in the morning? Is that
Yes,
the time, Karen?
I inherited it.
Yes. But it's 8:57 in the morning, and it's not a long call. It's about 10, 12 minutes. Again, about getting your head straight for the day, and she always has great guests. So thank you, Karen, for your passion and taking on that huge responsibility. So share with everybody a little bit about what you got out of Eric Worre's session on the pre-launch, getting ready for our big launch.
I am going through my notes right now. I took a lot of notes, as always. First of all, thank you, Sandy, for considering me to share with you guys this morning. I really appreciate you for that. You talked about, well, what I'm doing for my pre-launch is getting ready with the Eris products. I have the product, and I started last week on a cruise ship, and we were in a large group, and I was able to pull aside some of the ladies there and do demonstrations. And they received that, and they liked their results, and so the follow-up is coming up tomorrow on how they'd like to proceed. And then we have a party coming up, my daughter and I, and that's going towards the pre-launch. Now we're focusing on the New Year's resolutions. And so we're going to promote all of the products, the Prevail, the juice, and everything that people to offer solutions. So if they have an issue, then we say, well, if I offer you if you knew of a product that's gotten results with, which is the Prevail product, would you consider trying it to see what your results would be? It's a 12-week program. So that implementing more of the if I were you and understanding that my calendar is my boss and filling that up with more of the three-way calls with you and Eileen and Larry and just closing the year out, like you said, with a bang, a huge bang.
Shiva, and I love the way you said the calendar is the boss. And you all should have a buddy. So it's really important that you don't fudge your calendar and share. You can take a screenshot. I know how to do it on an iPhone. I don't know how to do it on an Android. But just find an 8 or 10-year-old and they'll tell you how to do it. But you should be sharing with your buddy at night before you go to bed what your next day's calendar looks like. And if you have a JOB that you have to go to, obviously there's a chunk of time where you're at your job. And I remember hearing a story, and this is years ago, where this gentleman, I don't know, he worked like 16 hours a day and hated what he did and was determined to get out of the mess he was in. And the big story is he never ate alone. So every day he did get 45 minutes or an hour for lunch, and he never ate alone. And over a 2 or 3 year period, he was able to earn enough consistently monthly that he could finally fire his boss. And what I love about Eric is that, you know, he doesn't sugarcoat things. He tells you the reality. And I love the fact that, you know, in fact, at the XVA, I think it was the XVA, Gordon Morton said that he saw a statistic that out of 15 people you sponsor, 3 will do something. And maybe Bill or Chris remember that. But I think those numbers are too high. At least they are for me. My ratio, what I'm finding is that I'm about 10%. So if I sponsor 15 people, 1.5 will do something. And I don't know how you determine the half a person. So maybe the half is a customer. But my point is that you're sponsoring, not recruiting, but you're sponsoring and serving others should never stop, because those who we think have the best potential are often the ones that go into the Witness Protection Program, the WPP, Witness Protection Program. You hear me call it the WPP. I had a girl in Florida, all excited. until it came time to pull out her credit card, and she went into the witness protection program 2 months ago, and she might be on another planet by now because she's just gone, absolutely gone. So thank you for sharing that, Karen. I really, really do appreciate it. And is there anybody else on the speaker line that has some ahas or they would like to share?
Hi, this is Steve Benson.
Oh, good, Steve. Now, you were also at XBA, right?
Pardon?
Were you at the XBA
No.
as well?
No.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Go ahead. It's all yours.
Anyway, I think you get 10 minutes. I listened to that thing twice, and the first time I was overwhelmed. The second time I took like 15 pages of notes, and I rewrote them again. I'm like, oh my gosh, then I lost internet all day today, so I couldn't go back a third time. But anyway, what I got out of it is the calls. He lists 3 or 4 calls, like a sizzle call. Well, like my upline's John and Gina, and John has a sizzle call, so I thought, well, I could use John's. And he said, no, make your own sizzle call. In other words, if you're going to do this all-out stuff, have your own sizzle call for your own inner circle, and it's like 2 or 3 minutes or 2 minutes of the company, and then the rest about you. And I'm going, oh my gosh. And I thought, that makes sense. Instead of trying to get somebody upline that they don't know, and maybe even your inner circle might not know John and Gina, is that they'll know me. That way I can get a hold of them. And so I was thinking, man, that is a good deal. So now I got to figure out how to make a sizzle call and come up with a script. So if anybody has an idea, do another one. But then another one was blitz. Go ahead. By the way, another one was blitz calls, or 3 ways. In other words, I've done that before. In other words, you take somebody that's new or fairly new, and you get a script, and you go on a 3-way call, and you call a prospect. And so what happens is that they get to listen to you call. In other words, they listen to the call and the interaction, and then pretty soon as they say, well, the next call is yours. And they go, oh, dear. But they know you're on the phone with them, so therefore they feel semi-comfortable. That's just the best way to put it, semi-comfortable, that they can make that 3-way call. So blitz calls is doing just 3-way calls with your inner circle, and then when you get more people online, is that you have the script and you do it. And I'm like, hey, that's good. And then he goes on to says prospecting calls, and now this guy he calls back at least 10 times. If he calls somebody up and they're not there, he calls them back at least 10 times. And if he knows somebody's screening them, he just calls them back, and says, you don't know what I got. And until you sit down and talk to me and say yes or no, is that I'm going to keep on calling you back. So you might as well just get it over with and come and talk to me and let me explain to what it is so that you know what's going on. And so he's very aggressive with his calls. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I just got nervous listening to him say that, because I'm not that way. If I got prospects, I'll call them up once in the afternoon, once in the evening, and say, oh, well, I'll just not. No, he says, I call them up 10 times. So I go, oh my gosh, you're talking about, I got out of my comfort zone just listening to that. I'm like, oh my gosh, and he's talking about his friend's screening calls. He just gets right back on. I go, oh my God, I was sweating just thinking about doing that, and so it was a good eye-opener for me. And so the other one is a team call. In other words, you get together and do a team call, like when you're doing your launch and you do your inner circle, you get together and however you want to do it quickly, what's going on, you quickly update it, you quickly talk back and forth, let them know what's going on, and you compliment everybody and then go on. And so the other one is later on is conference calls, is that you try getting your whole group together, your whole team together in a conference call. And we used to do that when I first joined. And so I thought that was part of it. And and one of the things is what I learned, the calls I really got a lot out of, a lot better than I ever thought I did. I thought I knew pretty good calls, but I didn't. And time management is that you need to feel comfortable. He said, this is his statement. You need to feel uncomfortable when I'm not talking to a prospect. In other words, if you're, like if I'm not talking to somebody, I'm going, oh, that's okay. But he says, no, you need to, your calendar is your boss, and if you look at it and there ain't nothing on there, because you need to do something, you know. And he said, emotions, and he listed a whole bunch of negative emotions. And he says, all negative emotions are all overcome by positive activities, directly related. In other words, if you got, you know, you're getting discouraged, well, I ain't talking to anybody, I ain't doing this, or I ain't doing that, or anger, so I should be doing something else. He said, positive activities will overcome all negative emotions. So when you're starting to feel a little negative, do something positive. Do something positive, and that'll overcome it. And so I don't know why I volunteered for this thing, because I said I listened to it twice, and I wanted to listen to it again today. But let me tell you, it was awesome. And this final thing was success isn't free, success isn't easy, but success is possible. In other words, so I got to remember that it's not easy, but it is possible. So I hope I'm not going too fast, rambling or something, but that's what I got out of it. It was just awesome. I don't know why I volunteered for it, but I'm glad I did. So I got a lot out of it.
I'm glad you did also, Steve, because you learn more when you teach. That's the whole point of this interaction. And preparing for it actually reinforces those skills even more. And let me address a couple things for you. You said, oh, my God, I got to write a script. No, you don't have to write a script. If you like what John says, just ask John, can I have your script? He's got it written down somewhere. And if he doesn't have it written down, you listen to it over and over, and you write it down, and then you record it. And then ask John, which recorder did you use? Because if you've got a mobile device, then you can download a free recording app, and then he'll tell you where he put that recording itself, whether it's just on his phone or it's on a bridge line somewhere. So don't reinvent the wheel. John is really, really good at this stuff. So just reach out to him and say, John, I'm going to create a sizzle script, but I want to use your words. Do you have it written down that I can fire it? Willie Jackson calls it R&D, rob and duplicate. Just rob and duplicate. That's what we do in network marketing. Nobody ever invented anything new. We just take what works and duplicate it. I mean, that's what's beautiful about it.
And I'm excited about Sizzle Call, because I can see where it's, you know, because I remember when I got first signed up, because I heard this guy say, Andy Willoughby always had that, said whatever he said, you know, and I remember that. And then we talked about Sizzle Call. The first thing I thought about was Andy. I'm going, and I like that thing, because you just plug it into somebody there. Well, the nice thing about a Sizzle Call, it's somebody in your organization, somebody in your inner circle say, well, you get to meet him too, but here, listen to what he has to say, you know. So I mean,
and there would be nothing wrong with using John's Sizzle Call for right now, because you are his partner. This is one of my $1 million club partners that has huge credibility. So if I were you, I would go ahead and use John's Sizzle Call just the way it is.
Hey, thanks. I never thought of that. That's good.
Absolutely. And you edify him. You always edify. You know, do you have about 2 or 3 minutes right now? Because I'd like to three-way you into a call by one of my partners, and we've got lots of them that are all million or multi-million-dollar earners. Because, you know, from John and Gina, you've got Eileen, then you've got me, and then you've got, you know, Collie and Ray and Dwayne. So you're pretty close to the top, Steve. So you can use that and say, all of my upline partners are all members of the million and multi-million-dollar club, and I'd love you to hear just from one of them for a few minutes. Would that be okay? I love those words. Would that be okay? And usually they say, sure, and you three-way them right in.
Right.
And when he talks about, you know, calling back people, I mean, I do the same thing. I am still calling people who said no to me before. And here's the words I use. You know, I'm in the midst of a pre-launch, and I'm putting together a team of very special people that I'm calling my inner circle. and I only want a handful of people. And what I'm doing is, and I just lost my train of thought, is putting together this inner circle. And this may or may not be for you, but if you're going to say no, this is what I meant to say, but if you're going to say no, wouldn't it make sense for you to know what you're saying no to? Okay? Would that be fair? Just give me a few minutes to share with you. Do you have 30 minutes to watch a complete presentation? Just 30 minutes that possibly might change the rest of your life. Would that be okay? And then I might send them, the 30-minute Thursday night, 21-minute opportunity video presentation. It's a webinar, or mine that was 31 minutes. I couldn't do it in 21 minutes. I couldn't talk as fast as colleagues. So mine was 31 minutes. Hers is 21 minutes. So whichever one you like, and say, I'll call you back in 30 minutes. Would that be okay? And that's when you get the commitment for them to, because on those, that's when somebody's ready to see the whole thing. They're ready to understand about the compensation plan and timing and all the rest of it. And don't be afraid to say, look, this may not be for you. And it's okay. But if you're going to say no, wouldn't it make sense to know what you're saying no to? But this could possibly be your answer to living life as it should be over the next 2 to 4 years. Okay? Yeah. Fair enough? So that's fair what enough. I might add. I always add fair enough. And something I learned back in the 70s when I started my medical and surgical supply business was that we had a dozen customer service reps. And when a hospital called or a discharge planner called or a patient called, the first person they came in contact with was our customer service people. So, and just understand that they were calling us not to check pricing, because insurance paid for everything. So they could have called anybody in what used to be the yellow pages, if people remember the yellow pages. So, you go to the yellow pages under hospital beds or oxygen or prosthetics. And if our name came up, they called customer service, they would call and it would go to one of the customer service reps. So that first contact could make or break whether they were going to do business with us to provide the services. So I used to require every desk had a mirror on it. And it also had a tape recorder, because I wanted them to look in the mirror, smile, before they picked up the phone and turn on the tape recorder, because I would monitor how they talked. Now, of course, I only heard what they said. I did not hear what was on the other end of the phone. But you could pretty much tell the quality of the voice. When there's a smile on your face, try it. Get a mirror. Go to Walmart or Target for $2 and get a really nice mirror that stands up. And record yourself with a smile and without a smile. And absolutely you'll hear the difference in the tonality of your voice. It is huge. So, Stephen, thank you for jumping on. So proud of you to get uncomfortable so that
got me stretched. Let me just stretch me.
Looking forward to hearing more from you for sure.
Next week.
I think you've already volunteered.
Yeah, you got me next week too. Yeah.
Yep, for the second chance you're taking on one of the chapters for 10 minutes to share your thoughts and what were the highlights for you. And this is really good practice for doing things that you're not used to doing, getting uncomfortable so you can be like Bill and go to Toastmasters and learn how to speak in front of groups. Right?
Right.
Awesome. Is there anybody else on the speaker line? We have a few minutes left before I go through some more notes, and then we're going to be able to end the call on time. Thank you again.
Hi, Sandy. It's Mark.
Okay, Mark. You got a few minutes. Shoot, my friend.
Okay. Hey, this is like drinking from the fire hose. Session 4 of the Insanity Boot Camp. It was just amazing. Page after page of notes. I backed up and listened to things over and over again, and I'm still blown away. But a couple of things I want to just point out real quick. The whisper call. the sizzle call. That was an amazing thing for me. He talked about just how to put it together in detail. Here's the vision. Here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. Here's who's going to benefit from it. Here's what the benefit is going to be for people who get involved. Here's the support we're going to be providing to the group. And I hope you're going to join us and look forward to seeing you in person. I mean, it was just amazing. It's so nice to have the step-by-step, here's what you do. I've heard a lot of years of vagueness, and I'm really valuing these videos by Eric because he is direct and he is detailed, and I'm really appreciating that. I really got to appreciate his recalls, and we were just talking about that, but just the fact that he will call people over and over again, and not to harass, but look, all I want to do is make sure that you understand what it is we're doing, and right now you don't understand that, so let's sit down and talk about it, and I don't care whether you want to do it or not. That's your choice. That was a big eye-opener. The other really, the thing that really struck me toward the end there, he said, I'm really an introverted person. I really, this recruiting part is not my favorite part. I much prefer, afterwards when the people are in and we're working together and we get results, and I really love having those results and helping people get those results. But recruiting thing is just not my favorite part. But I can compress all of that into this 90-day blitz, and I can do that for 90 days. And I was really impressed with, the fact that he said that. And I was also surprised that he's really an introverted person, because you would never get that from watching the video. But that made a big impression on me. That you can. He found a way to make that work for him, and I think that will certainly work for me and would work for anybody. Then Steve mentioned the emotion thing, and that emotion thing was a fantastic thing for me. That when you have those anger, fear, doubt, and the negative things, that you got to develop that new muscle that fixes all of the thing, which is the activities. And the more you're doing activities, and you don't even think about the garbage. So there's so much more, but those are the things I wanted to talk about tonight.
And thank you. And the truth is, Mark, most very successful people are introverts. I know I'm one, but I know what needs to be done so that I can have the life I want. I know what needs to be done because I can't achieve what I need to achieve without helping others. So, even salespeople, if you ask salespeople, do they enjoy sales? They hate it. Just ask a successful salesperson. They do not enjoy it, but they know it's part of what needs to be done for them to earn the income that they want. So we do it in spite of being uncomfortable, because there's no way else to achieve. I mean, think about it. Think about what Zango offers people, not just the health benefits and not just the tax benefits, but to be able to wake up in the morning without an alarm clock and know that what you do that day is by choice. You're going to do the things you want to do, that you have to do, but not being accountable to a boss who's living the life that you wish you could lead. So, you look at all these posts out there, if you're not working on yourself, for yourself, then you're working for somebody else to build their dreams. I mean, it's really simple. And anybody can be successful in Zango. Anybody. It doesn't matter your age, your background, your education, where you came from. You just have to know that it's going to take time. And for some, it may take longer. But you're going to work for somebody else anyway. Why not keep plugging in to your own business with all the benefits so that eventually you do achieve your goals? I mean, I can't imagine anybody, anywhere. And I really love the word. In fact, at the XBA, Bill and Chris and some others were there. When they asked Ed, at the end, they always ask you, what's the one word that you would use to describe the event? And Eddie stood up and said, with the microphone, would it be okay if I use the F word? And, of course, I held my breath. But I know my Eddie. Bill, Chris, do you remember what the F word was?
Trying to remember. I think it was fantastic.
No.
Oh. See that 2% sticking in.
Yeah, that's right. Chris, do you remember Eddie's F word? No, Chris, no. You ready? Everybody ready for me to tell you Eddie's F word? Focus. Focus. That's the secret. Know what you've got to do to get the job done. This is not rocket science. So this group, by the way, on Facebook is anybody on your team that wants to do things the right way faster. And yes, it's a lot. So just get to it when you can. And when Eric Worre talks about focus, an hour at a time is just not quite enough. So whether it means you unplug the TV, get up an hour or two earlier, go to bed an hour or two later. I remember when we first came into Zango, I literally lived at my desk probably 19, 20 hours a day. Eddie had to bring me food to my desk because I just couldn't, I could not afford to get off the phone. And those were back in the days when we only had a 6-page fax. So make sure you check the group frequently. And if you know someone that would like to be part of this private group, it's by invitation only. So that means I have to make them a friend. I made some room. I deleted some people because I was almost at my maximum. So we should be good to go there. And I'd like to close with a quote from Winston Churchill. Success is the ability to go from one failure to another with no loss of enthusiasm. Success is the ability to go from one failure to another, or one no to another no, with no loss of enthusiasm. And that is so important to keep your emotions under control, because so often I also, just like you, get all excited about a new person. Had a great call, great follow-up, scheduled 3 days from now when they get their paycheck to place an order, and often, sadly, they go into the witness protection program when it's time to come up with their credit card. Anybody ever have that happen, or is it only to me? So Gordon Morton talked about some will, some won't, so what, next time. Because right now, they may not be ready. And all I've done then is put them into my Zango Builder, and I'm dripping on them with the autoresponders and into the AMP app. So while I'm sleeping at night, the computers know what they're supposed to do to keep dripping on these people. So when it comes to the XBA and value, real value, this was a document that Gordon Morton gave out. And we have something so special. I'm going to close with this. And and I'm going to read it. To realize the value of 1 year, ask a student who failed a grade. To realize the value of 1 month, ask a mother who gave birth to a premature baby. To realize the value of 1 week, ask the editor of a weekly newspaper. To realize the value of 1 hour, ask the lovers who are waiting to meet. To realize the value of 1 minute, ask a person who missed the train. To realize the value of 1 second, ask a person who just avoided an accident. To realize the values of 1 millisecond, ask a person who won a silver medal at the Olympics. Treasure every moment that you have. So just remember, time is the most valuable coin in your life. You and you alone will determine how that coin will be spent. Yesterday is history. That's why they call today the present. We can never get back yesterday. And trust me when I tell you, the older you get, the faster time goes. So understand the value of time, the value of your coin, and what are you going to do with your time so that you can have a business that gives you the life that you deserve. Now, Chris asked a couple questions. Let's see if I can answer them quickly. Can you run a campaign on the business opportunity, or should you pick a product? How about several? You know, Chris, whatever you're passionate about, you can do. I think you heard Richard also say, you know, it's always been the dilemma in network marketing. Do you lead with the business? Do you lead with the product? I do a little bit of both. I intermix. So get to your closest upline, probably Premier or above, and have that conversation and see what they suggest. Your other question was, 1 point attending webinar live meeting, yes. Is that what you're doing right now? Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. And when we get a prospect to do so, yes. So if you know for sure a prospect is on a Thursday night call or the product experience call or they're attending the Saturday university call, those are all yes, yes, yes points that you get. 2 points face-to-face is that the meeting somehow at the store and sharing the 3D. I don't know what a 3D is, but I assume you mean a video. How's it different from 1 point new contact? Well, new contact could be over the phone. If it's a Skype call, that would be a face-to-face. Face-to-face means you're breaking bread together. Face-to-face would mean you'd have coffee together. You could touch each other. And as far as I'm concerned, a video Skype call is like meeting in a restaurant face-to-face because you actually see eyeball to eyeball. So 3D, best day yet, yes. Zelu 3D. So, yes. If you're sharing let's say, any of the Zelu 3D videos, you've got to know that they've looked at them. So what I do is I ask, what impressed you the most with what you saw? I ask that question every time. What impressed you the most with what you saw? And you'll know by their answer if they really, really watched that presentation, whichever one you're using. So I hope that answered your questions, Chris. You always have great questions. Thank you for asking because I'm sure it helped others who might have been thinking the same thing. So we are just a little over time. I appreciate each and every one of you. And next week we have Unlocking the $1 Million Mindset with Robert Kiyosaki, and we've only got 3 chapters to cover next week with the book, The Second Chance. Appreciate you all. And what I'd like to do is, guess what? We're going to end our meeting with a song, like you didn't know, right? Here we go.
the world,